Hi there, I'm Jason,
And I'm Joseph.
and this is the Infini-TEA, where we spill the tea on Marvel and pop culture. This week we're discussing Falcon and Winter Soldier, Episode 1, New World Order. So let's get into it with the recap. 6 months after the blip, Sam Wilson is sent by the US Air Force to stop a plane hijacking by a terrorist group called LAF. With ground support from First Tenant Joaquim Torres, Wilson uses his wing pack to fight off the terrorists and rescue an Air Force captain. On the ground, Torres tells Wilson about another terrorist group that has appeared, the Flag Smashers, who believed life was better during the blip. Later, in Washington, D.C., Wilson gives Captain America's shield to the U.S. government to display in a museum about Steve Rogers. Wilson explains to Rhodey that he feels like it still belongs to Steve. Back in Louisiana, Sam's sister Sarah is struggling to keep the family fishing business going. He offers to use his status as a famous superhero to help her get a new loan, but they are turned down due to the business's poor profits and Sam's lack of income during the 5 years of the blip. Meanwhile, Bucky Barnes attends government-mandated therapy after being pardoned. He discusses his attempts to make amends for his time as the Winter Soldier. He has lunch with an old man named Yori, who convinces Barnes to go on a date with the waitress Leah. Both Yori and Leah discuss how Yori's son RJ was killed with no explanation. Barnes knows that he killed RJ as the Winter Soldier, but he cannot bring himself to reveal this. While investigating the Flag Smashers, Torres sees a bank robbery in Switzerland perpetrated by a member of the group with superhuman strength. Torres confronts him and is knocked unconscious. He later informs Wilson of what he has learned. Wilson then sees a news report of the government announcing a new Captain America and giving Steve Rogers' shield to John Walker.
I didn't hear any talk about the wall color or specifically the Lost in the Woods cinematography that was in that amazing shrink scene. And she is an amazing shrink. I love her.
She's a terrible shrink. Bucky said so.
She knows she's bullshitting. The whole thing was like, you're bullshitting. You're bullshitting now. You bullshitted earlier, so I'm going to take out my little book and I'm going to write that you're bullshitting yet again. And I can imagine just a book filled with that term repeated over and over and over and over again. But good, he's in therapy. That's good. Just when we thought like WandaVision was going to like be the end all and above all of grief counseling, therapy season 2 continues.
I'm glad at least one of these three is getting counseling, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, Falcon, I don't know whether therapy is what he needs. He obviously is going for the family first. And that ungrateful sister, you had to fight armies and monsters, and I appreciate it, but I had 2 kids. All right, I'll take the kids, and you go fight Thanos. How's that as a deal and a trade-off? Let's see how that goes.
To be fair, it is rough being a single mom of 2 kids.
It is being rough being a single mom with 2 kids, but I think it's also rough fighting intergalactic space aliens.
And getting, turned into nothingness for 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, and the bank, it's how bank can you get? It's like, you can't. Like, I know you saved the world, but we're not going to give you your loan. And we know you didn't exist for 5 years. We know it. There's proof of it. You're an Avenger. We pretty much think you're not lying to us, but we can't give it to you because if we give it to you, we got to give it to everybody. And that's just not the way banks work. We're not here to like improve anything. We're here to make money. And if you're not making money and you're not, where's Tony Stark? My condolences, by the way. Where's Tony Stark? Did he pay you? No? Okay, well then you're shit out of luck. Sorry, get out of here.
Yeah, it's all selfies and smiles, but no fucking loan.
Yeah, that was the most realist moment ever in any Marvel show or film or anything. That was just like, wow, motherfucker.
Not only was Sam snapped for 5 years, but before that, he was like a fugitive on the run for a couple of years. So I guess his financials probably would be kind of all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, like, who knows how they survive? I'd love a series or a short something of how they were all surviving in like hotel rooms and shit like that for like a few years while they were on the run and Cap was nomad. It's it brings it into perspective. Like if he's not getting any money afterwards, if he didn't have any like Avengers slush fund, and what the fuck? Tony, I guess, just took care of everybody. It's like you hang out in my place and you're good. Like, but I'm not giving you any money.
My question is, who the fuck is funding Bucky? Because he's living in Brooklyn. He's going to therapy. He has like tech at the beginning of the episode where he's like controlling that woman's car. Like, where is that coming from? And Sam is like struggling to help his sister and can't even get a loan.
I feel like Bucky has some like leftover stuff from his Winter Soldier days. Like he stashed stuff around so he can live on the fly and got used to that life. I picture him having just like little buried treasure in all parts of the globe whenever he needs it. Passports, tech, whatever he needs. Because as the Winter Soldier, he'd need to do and access these things. But since the program is null and void, he just has whatever he still has left over, which is probably considerably a lot over the last like 70 years.
Yeah, that could be. Or maybe they have universal basic income in Wakanda and T'Challa's still giving it to him.
Maybe for the I can't imagine that translating to American dollars in any easy form though, especially since the country didn't exist up until like 6 years ago, really. And any kind of economic forms, like okay, well we'll take your whatever Wakandan money is, which is worth this much in the global bank community, and now that you're seen as a powerful country with technology far beyond our dreams, that wealth has significantly changed in the bank. I don't even want to know what the Wakanda dollar is.
I have a question for you. What are your feelings on Sam and Bucky, like individually, before this series? Like, how do you feel about Sam? How do you feel about Bucky?
I love Sam. He was a great like partner. He was what I think we always wanted Bucky to be, but he didn't have the storyline to do it right up the front. You know, like Cap needed a sidekick to a certain extent, or needed a friend in all those circumstances, and Falcon was there. Sam was there to help out from the get go. I mean, he was brought out of retirement by Cap to do avenging and to help whatever Cap needed, and he was inspired by that. So loyal. I loved every single character moment that we got from Sam. He was a true friend to Cap. Bucky, tortured, broken, tragic. That was what I felt about him. Like I loved Bucky, and he almost is this interesting parallel. Like Sam was living the life Bucky deserved in that kind of respect. Though one could even say Cap is the life that Bucky deserved. Going back to the 1940s, Bucky was the soldier, was the one who always took care of his friend. Tried to get him dates. Was a not I guess a womanizer maybe, but just like he had his luck with the ladies. Now we flash forward and look at all this. He's lost everything, and everything he's wanted is just confusing now to Bucky. So my heart goes out to Bucky, and I love Sam as a loyal compatriot. He has some self-worth problems now, and he doesn't want to take on the Shield. I kind of agree with Rhodes, and kind of want Sam to get a bitch slap across the head for a moment and be like, take the fucking Shield. They're just going to give it to a white dude. And they gave it to a white dude with a very punchable face.
I think at the end of the episode, he got that slap across the face. I mean, it was clearly like a setup. Oh yeah, donate the Shield. It's going to go to the Smithsonian. It's going to be great. Bam. New Captain America.
Yeah, it was in the Smithsonian for what, a day? Not even. Fuck you guys. There was a video I saw about like Marvel movies being so military propaganda, and I'm like, have you watched the Captain America movies? Have you? I mean, Captain America movies are the least American propaganda that you can get. It's most of the time it's Cap going against the government in every single movie except for the first one. So I don't want to hear about the Marvel military propaganda machine. Shut the fuck up, man. Every single Avenger is lifted their finger and middle finger up to the government at some point in time, if not all the time, often, repeatedly.
So prior to this series, I always liked Sam because I always thought Sam was true blue, great guy, great friend to Cap. I do what you do, just slower. And I'm going to be truthful here. I didn't have any attachment to Bucky. I did not like Bucky. I thought Bucky was tortured caveman guy. And like when he asked Steve in Civil War, or when he said to Steve in Civil War that he didn't know if he was worth it, I was like, yeah, you're kind of not. But this first episode did a lot to make me actually be invested in James Buchanan Barnes.
Yeah, I think this is the Bucky I knew was under there just based on Civil War alone. And you can see in Winter Soldier, his eyes are literally traumatized when he's remembering Steve. Like that's the point, and that's to me what like I knew there was a longer story to be had here. And plus, I was familiar with the comics, and I was familiar with the Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon, and there was a lot of different versions of Bucky Barnes out there. But this version, you can see the trauma on his face. You could see the tragedy, and if they played it right, you'd get an amazing story. And we got Civil War, and that's when I was like, no, it's okay. There is a lot under there. He's just screwed by every single force imaginable, and there we are.
This, I think the show is going to do a lot, and it already has, really, honestly, to pay off what he said to Tony Stark at the end of Civil War, where he said that he remembers all of them.
He remembers every single one of them, and that's the reason why you can't. That's why he's having these nightmares. It's like you're trying to figure out what's the connector to the nightmare, and then as soon as you're like sees hanging out with an old man who lost his son, you're like, oh, this is gonna hurt. And that poor girl who's like, I'm just trying to have a good date here. You know, she was being completely understanding and trying, and like, but nope, she just got a little too personal and a soft spot that he can't really talk about. Because what is he gonna do? Like, yeah, I killed his son. I'm having issues with that. And I wasn't lying when I said I was 107 years old. So I'm going to go.
It's a real shame, too, because, you know, if a girl pulls out Battleship on the first date, like, she's a keeper. She's trying to hit.
Yeah, she's trying to do whatever. She's like, I'll get some beers. Let's just play some Battleship and drink beers. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of a perfect date.
You know what? I did think it was pretty funny. I don't know if you caught this, but Bucky has a flip phone. In the year of our Lord, 2024.
Hey, he's baby steps, because he can't handle anything more than a flip phone right now.
Going back to Bucky's nightmares for a second, him sleeping on the floor was a good, subtle reference to the Winter Soldier. That conversation that Sam and Steve have about their beds being too soft.
They're all old soldiers with that mentality, and they just can't. You feel like you're gonna fall through the floor.
It's like a marshmallow.
Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what they were going for, and there's so many little nods like that. I don't really have much to say beyond the fact that I love it. Like, this is not what I was expecting. It has all the action I was expecting, which is theatrical quality. I mean, I kind of want to see this in the theaters when this is all done. I'd do a 6-hour theater run with this.
Oh, yeah.
It's so fucking good. They put the money into it. We got the guy from Winter Soldier, the big beefy dude in the beginning.
Batroc, the leaper. He actually talked this time.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he'll be back again to cause some trouble.
Yeah, as soon as he didn't get blown up, I was like, oh, he'll be back.
He's going to be a reoccurring antagonist.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a rite of passage for, you know, the new modern Captain America. Got to beat the shit out of Batroc the Leaper. He'll be back. I can see why originally this was going to kick off the Disney Plus MCU offerings. Like, it really does look like movie quality. It's a good proof of concept.
It is an amazing proof of concept because you're getting a cinematic experience in like a 50-minute episode, and it's expanding the emotional tones that we got from Winter Soldier and Civil War. Like, it's a continuation. They even got the same composer. They got Henry Jackman doing the score. So when you hear the Winter Soldier music themes, and it's there because it's his, which I thought was a brilliant way to just make sure it all felt like it was all part of that same world, that same vibe. It's like, this is a continuation of Civil War spiritually.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and obviously, you know, we're getting Zemo and Sharon Carter pretty soon. Did you notice that Zemo is one of the names on Bucky's list?
Yeah, so he's got a lot. He's and that's the thing. Sometimes you're like, okay, is he going because he feels bad, or is he going because he wants to like get revenge in some way? Like the senator, he obviously wanted revenge. He's like, all right, I fucked that up. She's still abusing it, so I'm going to get her arrested. Thanks, you're part of my amends program. Okay, bye.
I am no longer the Winter Soldier. Bitch, I saw the title. You're still the Winter Soldier. Do you think that Lieutenant Torres may take on the mantle of the Falcon like he does in the comics? If
I think maybe, like, if we get... He's so cute. Everyone fucking loves him.
Oh, he's great.
And, like, I think we have someone who is going to be an assistant to Sam, and that may be as far as they push it until he becomes Captain America, and then maybe we'll see. It's going to be a long game if it's going to happen. Or Marvel is setting someone up that we think is going to eventually be that, and then is going to kill him. Because he's too likable to just be okay in this. I'm pretty sure he's going to get tortured and murdered and destroyed and ripped apart. His families will be murdered. His entire hometown will burn down. His dog will die. Like, Marvel is going to rip us through all the emotional cores when it comes to characters that we like. And I accept this as fact. So maybe he could become Falcon, or maybe he becomes the newest way to get ours to cry.
Well, I hope it's the former rather than the latter, because I do actually think that actor is just really like cute and charming and like
Completely.
I was a little worried at the beginning or at the end of the first episode when that flag smasher fucking was gonna, curb stomp him.
Yeah, I know, but that's the thing. Like, it's not going to be like he's going to die tomorrow. He's going to slowly die, and everything that makes him cute and adorable will die with him.
Well, aren't you just a bag of sunshine?
Well, this is Marvel. Have you seen WandaVision? Have you seen Endgame? This isn't happy-go-lucky good time. This is Marvel saying, "Hi, you have feelings. Yeah, we're going to break your soul." I mean, that poor. I mean, like, just the fact that Bucky is like basic best friend is like the dude whose son he murdered, and that's what's happening here. This isn't for like happy lucky good time. This is, you're gonna feel shit, you're gonna feel bad, you're gonna cry, we're gonna rip the ground from underneath you, and anyone with PTSD and in therapy is going to be feeling this. They're not fucking around. So I mean, Torres, good luck, man. Good fucking luck. You are going down. I hope you don't own animals. They will suffer.
Oh no, I don't want this to become a John Wick kind of situation. Although one of the people that choreographs for John Wick is working on this show.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, with all the choreography stuff that's potential and just what we've seen in the flight sequence and the fights so far, and that's so minimal, but it's so amazing. So amazing.
So do we think that flag smasher at the end of the episode was enhanced with some form of the super soldier serum?
Yeah, I think that super soldier serum is always going to be the thing that brings everybody out to the yard. That's the milkshake here. And we're getting another variant of it. We know it existed with what was that dude from the Incredible Hulk?
Blonsky.
Thank you. So we knew the last person to get something like that was Blonsky, right? That was the most modern version of it. Before then, there was the other Winter Soldiers that got something. Still nothing as good as what we got with Cap.
Yeah, and speaking of the milkshake portion of that, in the end credits, there's a bunch of things that seem like they're probably Easter eggs. But one of them, there is looks like maybe like a half-torn poster that says the power broker is watching. And there's a vial of what looks like it could be super soldier serum.
Yeah, someone could be selling this and giving it to the peoples. So we'll see where that comes into. But I'm no longer, and I think there's a lot of people who are traumatized by WandaVision when it came to their own fan theories, because I hear a lot of people saying I'm not gonna give theories anymore because they're just traumatized by what happened with Wanda, and that's fair, because like in the beginning credits of one of the episodes we saw the Grim Reaper's helmet in WandaVision, but that didn't mean shit.
Listen, man, that fucking banker is Mephisto, and you can't tell me otherwise.
I think there's a lot of people who will tell you otherwise, but there's a lot of people who agree with you. I have friends who definitely agree with you. The banker's Mephisto, the sister's Mephisto, the boat's Mephisto, Red Wing is Mephisto because he's red. Probably the old Asian guy, he's Mephisto. Definitely the date is Mephisto. Battleship, the game itself, Mephisto.
That therapist, Mephisto.
Definitely Mephisto. I mean, you could tell she's holding a book, and Mephisto would hold a magic book. So he was writing spells in that book during that time. It's fact.
This is what it's become.
Everyone is Mephisto. My cat, Mephisto. Torres, he's not Mephisto. Torres is not Mephisto.
No, he's too sweet. I swear to fucking God if he ends up being Mephisto, though.
Torres puts on Falcon's wings and then looks at everyone. Ha ha ha! You all didn't expect this, and he turns into a flaming red demon.
We shouldn't go too deep into the weeds on rumors. I'm sure everyone is traumatized from WandaVision.
Yeah, because it's like how far do you go, and like how far. And this show also isn't about piecing things together. There's no mystery. We're literally just going along for the ride here, and so I'm just gonna sit back, put my arms up, and just hope that I have autopilot because I'm enjoying myself here. If not, then there's going to be a crash and Torres is going to die.
Despite that, there is one thing that I do want to talk about in the ending credits.
Oh my God. What little tiny minuscule, if you blink and pause at it at the right time and squint, what character do you see?
The picture. Well, okay, for the actor Carl Lumbly.
Oh, the Black Cap America?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. That's the rumor, is he might be playing a form of Isaiah Bradley, the first black Captain America, which I think would be cool for the show. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I really like that actor. He played Martian Manhunter's dad in Supergirl.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I mean, maybe it's just going to be a different kind of character. I mean, how many Captain Americans do we have in this show anyhow?
All of them.
We have U.S. agent asshole punchable face schmuckbag who just God, that smirk of his. You just want to drown him.
Did you see the Photoshop of the guy from Up with the mask on? It's very convincing.
It's uncanny.
Yeah, he has a super punchable face. Also, he's fucking carrying a gun, which, not down.
A Captain America carrying a gun in the first in the 1940s World War II movie made sense for a little bit of time. That's really about it. Then we have Bucky and Falcon. Both were Captain America at some point in the comics. And we might have Black Captain America, the first Black Captain America in the comics. So, I mean, there's a lot of potential Captain Americas in these stories. Maybe everyone will get a chance at being Captain America. You become Captain America. You become Captain America. You become my cat, Captain America. Mephisto, also Captain America. Everyone will become Captain America. Mephisto is the one who probably deserves the title the most.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
he puts the red in red, white, and blue.
Damn straight.
I do like the idea though of having Isaiah Bradley just because I think that would add an interesting wrinkle for Sam, because I think part of the reason why why he turned down this shield is he didn't feel it was his to take. Like, he didn't feel like he could carry on the legacy as a black man. But if he finds out that there was a secret, attempt at doing like a black Captain America, and that whole history got whitewashed and not written about, I think that would be an interesting wrinkle.
That might be interesting. A retired old soldier who used to do this. I mean, that's a theory. We can talk about that theory. It is possible. Or he could just be playing like a fish captain.
He could legitimately be
Uncle Sam's uncle.
Yeah, he'd be Uncle Sam's dad.
This is the problem with theorizing. Just go along for the ride, man. Just like ride it like a Tesla and let it do the riding for you.
So are the Flag Smashers gamifying terrorism?
Yeah, they were using the video game app, and there was like augmented reality, and they were having fun with it.
It was Pokemon Go meets a flash mob.
Pretty much. So good on them for embracing technology in a way that's creative and forward thinking.
I kind of want to throw this out there though, like their mission statement, they want a unified world without borders. I'm not going to lie, that's kind of what I want as someone who, wants to live in a Star Trek style like utopia.
Yeah, that's true. I think they want to do it in an anarchy kind of a way, and not in a
kumbaya, United Nations, United Federation of Planets kind of way.
No, they want to do it in a, everyone's gone and we can take what we want. And we liked the world when it was more empty, and we liked the world when there was more resources for everyone. Thanos was right, but like really Thanos was right. Not like Infinity War Thanos, like Endgame Thanos. Like basic stupid GOP people who think that the world is better when everything's small government, small people, small resources. Everyone's just small-minded, small-educated. People who only think DC is a good, viable comic book movie franchise.
Although Justice League was good.
Justice League Snyder Cut was good. It does not compare with one episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, to me, like if you compare those two, like 4 hours of Justice League, good. 50 minutes of Falcon Winter Soldier, amazing. I would still rather watch that one episode 17 times.
Brevity is the soul of wit, and I really, really enjoyed the Snyder Cut, but it is a lengthy, girthy movie.
Yeah, no, it's. I'm glad I watched it. I watched it again, and I still have like a lot of nitpicks with things that are just very Schneider-esque. That whole bank sequence that can go like at least have your terrorism subplot make sense. So Falcon Winter Soldier, our terrorism subplot that we're building up on, makes sense. These are people who like the world the way it was when a disaster struck, and they want that back, and that's what they represent. These assholes in Snyder's Cut were like, we want to bring back to the dark ages of 1,000 years ago, so we will destroy this one bank. Okay, then what? Nothing. That'll do it, right?
That was the plan.
In British banking law, anyone who destroys one bank brings the entire global economy back 1,000 years. One bank. That's all you got to do. Destroy one bank, and that's what happened. Sorry, Snyder. Rewrite that whole sequence and reintroduce Diana. She already had a movie. We know who she is. We know what she can do. Also, not a speedster, so stop writing her that way. Anyway, not about that. None of that makes sense and annoyed me. But here in Falcon Winter Soldier, it all makes sense. Like, to me, it all connects, and it's done properly, and it's done with logic and brevity and beauty and wit, and there it is.
Okay. Let's pull back from Justice League, since that's not the thing that we're talking about. But I do enjoy that, like, our review of it was short and really positive, but now that you've had a couple days to sit on it, you're like,
But I'm complaining about shit that had nothing to do with the cut, because that's the same thing.
That was in the first cut as well.
Exactly. Like, it's just the movie, and it's not Joss's fault this time. Like, Joss's cut, like, whatever, you throw that out with the bathwater, and his career along with it. But Snyder's version obviously had a vision, and obviously it was at a time before he was able to make sense. So I figured he would have more time to realize he didn't need to do all these big things for some of this shit, and he still did it anyway. So, all right, whatever. But that's the point. Like, even though Falcon Winter Soldier, we know, had some rewrites because of the coronavirus, we know how to change its order. There were some things that came up and popped up and caused some problems. They nailed it. They nailed it from moment one when you're watching it, and you're just, this is the cinematography in Falcon Winter Soldier was just so breathtaking. The shots in the shrink's office, you felt every single time Bucky was having a problem.
Yeah, very closed in, very claustrophobic, very PTSD, hard to breathe.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. I did enjoy the blocking on that. I thought it was really good.
The Falcon's fight scene through the canyon was up to par with any Star Wars fighter combat scene.
Yeah, any big Marvel scene like that as well, like in the movies. Like, yeah, it really did feel like we were watching a movie. The great thing about these shows, they're just very long movies.
Mm-hmm. And I'll take a very, very long movie that I could watch at home and chill with.
I've always wanted a 6-hour Captain America movie. I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm here for this entire thing, and that's the point. Like, if you're not, obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you've watched the show, and you're just hearing two people geek on about how much they love the shit. But, like, this stuff is important now. Like, this is proving the point that we can do this and tell these stories in a long form. If successful, we can get so much more in the future of this.
We haven't even had Sam and Bucky come together yet. They're not even in the same state. Like, we have this breathing room. Like, we have this room to develop and, like, give character beats and give moments and, like, learn about Sam's family and fucking actually see Bucky's trauma. And in a movie, we wouldn't have had that.
No, we wouldn't. It wouldn't have been worth the time to tell that long of a story. We have to get in and out in 2.5 hours. You know, that's our cinematic experience. And a lot of the time when I was watching all the Marvel movies as they were coming out, it was like the one thing we're missing are the moments that are in between the movies that you want to see too. And for the first time, we're actually getting that, and it's being done right. So keep going, Disney. Keep going, Marvel. You got me. You got me.
I think that we can agree a major theme of this show is going to be legacy. Like, so we see Sam kind of dealing with, you know, the legacy of Captain America. We see him dealing with, like, his family's legacy. And we also see Bucky, like, kind of struggling with, like, the legacy of the Winter Soldier.
Yes, this is all about legacy. And I think that's what this series is going to be, one way or the other. It's all going to be about whose legacy and how do you maintain that legacy. Obviously, the government's way of doing it is hiring someone they can control. And that's not going for Cap's legacy. Cap has always been someone you can't control. He was the one who went up against the Sokovia Accords. So the legacy of Captain America to them is just someone who looks good and gets people's attention and inspires people to make America look great. And they even said it. It's great when you're defending the world, but we want someone to defend America.
It's almost like they're trying to make America great again or something.
I know, right? And we saw what happened to the last guy who tried to do that. Douchebag. Point is, I think it's going to be a conversation about what legacy is and who carries it at various points. And that's why I think maybe we'll see Cap be a few people throughout this time. And maybe, and not even in a snarky way, but maybe in everyone is a little bit of Captain America inside of them if they actually maintain the real legacy of what Steve represented, which is more individualistic than you'd think.
Maybe we're all Captain America.
Including Mephisto.
Is Steve on the fucking moon?
In playing the Avengers game, he was. So There's precedent there. He could be on the moon. I wouldn't put it past Marvel to be like, yeah, we know it was a joke, but it's real. I mean, we don't know where Cap is. I assume Sam knows what happened to Cap, like actual Steve Rogers, but no one else seems to, and that seems to be tight-lipped right now.
Yeah, in the Smithsonian exhibit on the display, someone freeze framed, and you can kind of read like what the public information on Steve post Endgame is. And it was essentially like on his final mission, Tony Stark laid down his life, and to honor his sacrifice, Steve Rogers retired and put down the shield. And it doesn't really tell you anything conclusive. It doesn't say he died. It doesn't say that he's an old man, because I don't think that's public knowledge. So TBD, but I kind of wonder if we're going to get that.
Yeah, at least in a conversation somewhere. And old Steve Rogers to come back just to have that moment of closure. Again, this show can go in a million different ways, and maybe some of them will be real, maybe some of them won't. I'm not going to sit here and obsess about what other could be's until I get more information, because there's nothing. I mean, there's little notes here or there, but if WandaVision was any indication, that none of that means shit.
WandaVision sort of burned us all when it comes to theories.
It really has. It's traumatized an entire section of YouTubers who are now terrified to open up their mouths. I know. You're listening to some of these people that are just like, yeah, we're just not. we're gonna shut up about maybe this, maybe that, maybe that means something, but yeah, we ain't doing this again. That hurt.
I just want to reiterate to everyone that listens to this podcast, it's fun to theorize. It's fun to speculate. Don't get married to your fan theories, because when they don't happen, you're going to be sad. You know, they're fun to think about, but just let's enjoy this ride, because I'm really excited to see where the rest of this show goes.
Exactly. And it's like, I trust in the people making this. So it's not like it's going to be like it was with the Matrix sequels, where it's like, oh, my fan theory wasn't true. Well, fuck that. This movie sucked, because they did. But we're getting good shit. So just let them tell their story. And maybe it doesn't happen the way it happens with you, but it's going to happen maybe in some other way. So just let it happen.
All right. So make sure to like, subscribe, and please tell your friends. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Infini-TEA, spelled Infinite A Cast. And you can email us at infinitycast@gmail.com. Until next time, I'm Jason.
And I'm Joseph.
And we'll see you guys next week.